Hi friends, happy Tuesday. It is January, January 21st. My name is Barb. I'm coming to you from my kitchen today because the remainder of my house is still undecorating from Christmas. I know I've said before I have a lot of decorations and I clean as I go when I put things away. So I am taking advantage of the time that I have to clean and repack and kind of get rid of things. So I only have 2 more rooms to go and 2 more trees to take down. It'll all be done by the end of the month. Usually January is my whole undecorating, cleaning kind of month. So with that being said, I'm coming to you from my kitchen. It is a blustery 8 degrees here in Buffalo. We've had some lake effect snow. Driving in from work last night, I did work last night at the clinic, and I was driving home in literal whiteouts. I had to pull over 3 times just to get my wipers cleaned off. Thankfully, I know the route because I drive it a lot. So you can kind of tell where the landmarks are and where you can pull off and do what you need to do. And there were just a very minuscule amount of people on the roads last night because there was actually travel advisories and stuff. But fun. So I'm looking out my kitchen window here and I see well over the city of Buffalo how gray it is. And the snow band is there. I was at Roswell this morning. I have finished my 5th round of radiation. I only have 10 more to go. So as I was driving into the city this morning, it was getting kind of yucky. And then when I was coming back, I said, you know what? I just drove through this last night. So I couldn't wait to get home and just get into my comfies because I know I am in the house for the rest of the day. Got a long list of things to do. So let me welcome you to my channel. I am a cross stitcher, and that is my hobby. I am a long arm quilter, and that I do for clients. So I love to mix in different types of crafts, the cross stitching, quilting. Sometimes I'll even crochet. I'm actually working on some embroidery right now. I'm not very good at that. I know what I'm doing, but that is definitely not my go-to for needlework. My go-to is hand quilting or cross stitching. So let me just jump in here and talk to you about what I've been working on. Now it's funny because this is the 3rd year that I am using the book to kind of keep track of where I'm at. The first year that I got it, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So last year, my book of days was pretty, I wrote in it for a decent amount until I got sick in the fall. But here for January, I actually sat New Year's Eve and I put a lot of stickers in. I love stickers. I know a lot of us do. So I did sticker up a lot of my book, and while I'm not writing in it every single day, I'm writing in it 5 out of 7 days just to keep track of what I've been working on. And it's funny because my last floss tube was on the 10th, and I thought, oh gosh, do I even have anything that I can show that I've worked on? And then I looked in my book and I said, holy cow, I have literally picked up stitching since the 10th of January, every day but 3 days. So that's not too terribly bad. And some days I've worked on 2 or 3 things. And if that's only just putting a thread or 2 in, I've had my hands on it, right? So let me start going through and showing you what I have been working on. I talked to you the last time about that Galaxy Temperature Quaker Galaxy Temperature design that I was working on. Where you keep track of the highest temperature and, the one that I showed you, it was a Galaxy design, and I had explained that it just was not holding my attention any longer. It was already 2 years in the making. So I decided, and I showed you this, that I had found another pattern to use, and it is a temperature Quaker. And I thought, you know what, this is going to work out lovely. I'm really enjoying doing this. I want to make sure I don't show the pattern here because I forgot to pull this one out. So it is it's by Stitchin' Mommy, and it is called the Temperature Quaker, and I do have a bunch of notes all over it because that's what I do. It's funny because I I was looking at it and I'm thinking, why I'm not counting things right or whatever. Well, I had missed printing off some of the pages because initially when I did it, I only printed, it was a PDF. So I only printed off, you know, a couple of pages and did not actually read all of the directions because I figured, you know, I'll do that when I get to it. So the way this works, the motifs are from January to November. The lettering, A through Z, and some of the tinier motifs, that's December. So when I looked at it last time and I talked about it and I said, you know, I'm probably going to go in and just maybe not do the lettering and stuff. Well, I need to do the lettering because that's December. What I am going to do, there are 3 motifs on here. Well, 4 actually. There's a crown and a bird and a heart, a leaf. I'm going to look into, oh shoot, I was going to bring that down. I didn't. I have a book that has all different kinds of motifs in it. So I'm going to look into that when I get to that to do that. But so the actual larger motifs are from January to November. And then the alphabet that you see in the picture is December. So I'm really excited about this. I do check my high temperature every day in my area because I want to make sure I'm getting the right temperature. Because if I go back too far, then it pulls up Cheektowaga at the Buffalo Airport, and that's not where I am. I'm in West Seneca. So this is where I am right now. I am stitching this on Aida, and I am stitching with 1 thread because it is 18 count, I believe. So each day only equates to like 12 stitches. So I do not stitch on this every day. I usually do every 2 or 3 days, depending on the temperature, because if it fluctuates, then that's changing my thread every day or every time I stitch it. So, or every little 12 stitches. So I kind of wait every few days and then I'll pick it up and I'll do it. But I do make sure that I keep track of what the temperature is every day just because. I didn't think this through, where I'm going to put everything. I have everything all over my island here. All right, so the next thing that I worked on, and I talked about this before, this is the 1 stitch at a time. It is the sale that is being run by the Across the Pond Stitch and Chat Facebook group. So this is the stitch. And there is a layout as to what needs to be stitched when, because it is a sale. And we all know that, you know, that's a great guideline to have, but we work the way we work, right? Now I am stitching this on linen, so I am using a hoop, and I generally stitch in hand, but as you saw on my Temperature Quaker, I'm using a frame, and that's only because it's just a lot easier to keep a nice tension on that because it's going to be worked on for a year, right? So I am using 36 counts Weigart Edinburgh linen, color of Rocky Mountain, and I'm using all of the Weeks Dye Works called for threads for this stitch along here. So what I did first is I'm just doing the border. I want to make sure everything is going to line up. So I am working on the border, and I'm telling you, last week when I was stitching, counting was hard because I was sitting here the one night when I started it, and I started it on Friday the 10th, and I'm going along and I'm stitching and stitching and stitching, and then when I went back to it on Saturday, I realized that because I didn't count, I had to unpick because I made it too big. So there, the majority of threads that I put into my Ort ball have all been frogged threads this past week. So as I said, I am just working on the border first. I'm pretty sure if you are a member of the group and you do look at the page, I'm pretty sure that the first assignment was for the upper border and then the lettering that says beautiful things come together. Now, there is also just a little glitch in the pattern on the I in the word things. And if you go back and you look, you'll see what it is. If it's something that you're stitching, it's really no big deal. And honestly, if you're looking at your pattern, you probably would have picked it out. There's like an extra stitch on there. you probably would have picked it up because you would have looked at it and said, that doesn't look right. Okay. We're all pretty familiar with what we do need to do and what we don't when we're doing our letters. Okay, my next stitch was my Wee Santa, which is my snow day stitch, and I have stitched on this thing almost every day. What I do with this as well is I wait 2 or 3 days and then I'll come back and stitch, because sometimes it's just, I don't want to just stitch one thread. I will do a little at a time, a few threads. So, because, you're pulling the pattern out and getting everything all prepared. This I am stitching in hand. So this is Wee Santa by Heart and Hand. And I have said before, the reason why I chose this design is because the flowers to me look like quilt blocks, and I like that. So here I am here, and this, I am using only one thread, and I'm stitching over 2, and it is on a piece of Aida that I coffee tea dyed. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because I like the primitive look. Now, I had also thought about going back once I get done and stitching it using 2 threads, maybe over, I don't know, find another piece. I don't know, we'll see. There is a lot of color change in this, and again, counting is hard. And when I was working on this, I did make an error in my flowers along the bottom. Everything is not level. So I said, well, we're going to make the flowers kind of go a little bit up and down. But then I had to remember that I had to adjust my my stitches for that. And again, counting is hard. Made some mistakes, and it got to the point where I was just looking for things that I could basically just use as fillers, and I'll show you those when I get to them. I did put just a little bit into my Americana Red. I've shown this before. I love this stitch. It is by October House. Whoops, I got everything all over here. It is by October House Fiber Arts. This is the pattern. It is monochromatic. I am doing it in the red. I did make some changes to this. I did not care for the shape of the roof of the house. I also put my birthday in the box where it says 22, where they used that for the year. And then I'm actually going to not put the cherries along the bottom. If you look at this, it has a row of cherries along the bottom. I am not a fan of that. So I'm going to take that out. And where I am right now on this, I think I have 2 more motifs that I'm going to put down the side. See those motifs down the side there? I'm going to do 2 more. And where that last motif lands is where I'm going to run the base of my stitch. And then I will figure out then what I want to put down there. So I do have another, a little bit more of the alphabet to do, and then some cute little doodads, little motifs. But I'm putting in the motifs along the side now, because that's where I know I'm going to be stopping. And then I can move from right to left and figure out what I want to do. But again, I love this. I love it, I love it, I love it. I will say that every single time. And because I love that one so much, I went and got Americana Blue. And it is also by October Fiber House. And this is more sewing themed, whereas Americana Red is more cross stitch. As it stands right now, looking at this, the only changes I'm going to make, up in the box where it has 23, I will probably put 25 for the year, and then down obviously in the initial box where it says RS, I will have to put my initials in there. And it's kind of hard because I have a hyphenated last name, so I don't want to put BO or just BS and then BOS, so I don't know. A lot of times when I do stitches now, I just put my first initial. I just put B. So I might even come back on this and put my maiden initial. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I can figure it out. So I am stitching this on 36 count chocolate milk, which I love this color of this fabric. It is by Seraphim. I'm using Blue Jeans, which is a Weeks Dye Works color, and I'm stitching 1 strand over 2. And I do have this fabric folded because it is very see-through. So here you can see just how light that looks on here. I mean, it's light, but it's not that you can't see it. Clearly where I am from right here, it's very, very nice looking. I love it. I love it. So I hate to say it, but these are probably 2 of my most favorite stitches this year. But of course, every time I pick up a stitch, it's going to be my most favorite, right? Isn't that what we always do? I have to be careful here because I have things precariously balanced on the table. So, all right. Now next, again, because counting was hard and I was getting really frustrated, I thought, you know what, I am just going to walk away from some of the pieces that I was working on, and I'm going to pull out another whip. I do not believe I have shown this to you before. This is called Hope, Summer at Pansy Patch Manor. And it is chart 1 of 4 in this particular series. It's by Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery. This is the design. And I am using the called for colors. They're just stunning. They are my colors. They are basically all of those Kim Deal colors that I like in my fabrics, right? I love this. I just love this. I could probably pull all of these threads, and keep them out. And if I decide to just kind of do a thread toss and change up colors, I would have them all right here. And I know Lori Holt does that too. I'm pretty sure she does that with some of her Christmas stitches that she does. She has a specific set of threads that she uses just for Christmas because she likes how things work together. So this is as far as I am on this, and this is good for fill-in. It's working out very nicely for filling in for me. Now I am stitching this on an Aida, and I am stitching 1/2, no, hang on, erase that. I'm stitching 1/1, and it is an Aida, and I believe it might be something that I dyed myself. I don't even know. Okay, but I had my hands on it. Again, I chose this one because of the churn dash block on the barn. That is the quilter in me. But these colors, oh my, they just, look at how nice they all go together here. So I'm really looking forward to getting this done. And I believe I also have more of the patterns in the series. They're in the to start pile, right? I think they're kitted up. Next, I did show you this before multiple times in every video, that little swap that I did with the Stitch Across the Pond group. I had stitched the little pillow in there. Well, I started the one across the top. It's called We Shall Have Snow. I did finish Snow Globe, this one here. I did have a finish. I don't know where I put it. I know that I was going to look for fabric to make it into a pillow, and now I don't know where I put it. So that was finished last week. It's a finish I can't show you. But I started this one at the top. It's called We Shall Have Snow. And I am stitching this on a Lugana, and this particular Lugana is a Lori Holt color. And the reason I was working on a Lori Holt, oh gosh, I think it was the Quilted Witch. I think it was the cross stitch Quilted Witch that I had started, and I was using this particular, it's 25 count prim, and I just did not like it. I did not like the darkness of this color of fabric with the dark colors of the Quilted Witch cross stitch design. So maybe I'll show it to you next time. What I ended up doing was I finished one section, like one block, and I literally turned it into a pillow. You know what? Hang on. I'm going to go get it. Okay, so this was from the Quilted Witch cross stitch pattern by Lori Holt, and it was the first design up in the left-hand corner of the pattern. I looked at it and I'm like, I mean, I love Lori Holt stuff. She's my second most favorite fabric designer, cross-stitch designer. As a matter of fact, she has a new cross-stitch pattern out. It's a really cute little sampler. But I was not liking this on this fabric. So I thought, it sat literally for a year. I did not touch it for a year. And then I said, well, that's silly. Let's do something with it. So I took it and I cut it and I made a pillow. Nothing fancy. Okay. Kim Deal fabrics, of course, right? So this sits in my hallway for fall, winter, right? Perfect, okay. So then the rest of the fabric I have been using in just smalls because I'm okay with that. So that's what I'm using here. Now this is, again, We Shall Have Snow. And I chose to do 2 threads on this because I did do a little test. You can see up here in the corner, I actually did a little test of the stitches. And I thought that I liked the 2 stitches better because this little guy it's mostly all light colors. So I'm just kind of following along what the pattern is calling for DMC. And, you know, just to have another little small for the winter. And I think this is actually going to be the last small that I do because I do want to start doing some Valentine stitching because I might have an order coming in from Primrose Cottage with some Valentine stuff. So, anyway. All right, what else did I touch? Again, because counting has been hard, something else that I pulled out. Now, I've been working on this now for a couple years, and I really should be farther along on this. This is by Whistle Stop Stitcher Designs, and it is called Chester's Place. Now, Sarah from Sarah's Stitchy Spot finished this in honor of her dog, Chester, that passed away about a year ago now. So this originally, I believe, was a fundraiser to help a cat. Money donated was to go to a cat for some type of medical treatment. And I know when I bought mine, and it was a PDF, and I'm pretty sure, I mean, this is dated 2021, so it is, you know, copyright of 2021. So by the time I bought mine, I am sure that the necessary funds were probably already reached. So I do have quite a bit of this done. So this became another one of my fillers. You can see here. I am filling in the house, and you know what? I know that the white of the manor looks very light, but I'm pretty confident that, I mean, if you look at this, you can see where the roof is and the chimney. So I'm pretty confident that the white will stand out, especially, you know, once I get the filler in for the windows and stuff. But I think it's turning out lovely with the colors so far. And I am going to make a change to this because if you look across the bottom of this, it has a bunch of different animals. Well, I am a Labrador mom. Right now I have my 6th and 7th labs. So I am going to do this for my labs. I've had 2 yellow labs and 5 black labs. I have 2 black labs right now, English labs. So they're chonky, stocky, chonky monkeys. They're about 100 pounds. So I know that when I come back to do this, I will put dogs across the bottom. And I don't think I'm going to take up as much room for my initial in the year because I want to make sure that I can get the dogs across the bottom. But that is, you know, really all I have to do on this. I have all of the other larger parts done. So it is now just literally filling in the house and then doing the animals. So I'm looking at a finish this year for Chester's Place. Something else that I touched because, again, And this is another reason why counting is hard. My good friend, Cindy, my stitchy friend, we started this in 2024. We were going to work on it together. She just finished hers. She is really attacking all of her whips. I give her so much credit. It's called Maker and Mender. Oh, do I love this. Oh, I just love this. So I had been going to town on this, and I would work on it a little bit here and there. And when she when she sent me a picture, and she's like, I'm almost done. And I went, what? No, I really got to pick this up and work on it. So I started working on it, and I'm stitching through the alphabet, and I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, why is my alphabet going to run into my motif? Because I counted wrong. And on the pattern, this is the pattern by Brenda Gervais. I'm sure we've all seen this. I'm trying to peer over the pattern here. Right here, this bird here, and this right here, this tree. When I put them on, I started them too low. Again, that's why there's a lot of thread in here. I had to unpick all of those motifs because my letters were literally going to run right into it. So I picked those out and said, well, I'm just going to stitch the letters. So this is my progress. No, I don't iron my fabrics. Yes, I have hanging threads. That's how I stitch. Okay. So this is absolutely beautiful. It has to be one of my favorite stitches. Didn't I just say that a while back? So I am using the called for. There is some Weeks. There's Gentle Arts. There's Classic Colorworks. There's DMC. Again, my colors. And you know what? This blue that's in here, it is blue corn. Oh, I just love that. Just the way that it's popping out off of this fabric in that particular bird. And I'm not a fan of birds. I've told you that before, right? I am stitching on 28 count Oaken. I started this October 1st of 2023. Oh my God, I thought we started it in 2024. Sorry, Cindy. Goodness. 28 count Oaken Lugana by Picture This Plus. I'm using one strand over 2 threads and using the called for threads. I really got to get a move on this, huh? But my friend's is done, and it's beautiful. She sent me a picture of it. She loves Brenda Gervais designs. So do I. I'm kind of jealous. So that is everything that I have had my hands on this week or the past week and a half. And again, I'm very surprised because I didn't think I stitched that much. But there are the days where I'll just pick up and do a couple threads. Like, you know, there's a night where I say, I really just want to stitch on Americana Red, or, oh gosh, I just want to put in a few more stitches in Americana Blue. And, you know, unfortunately, I've been having to do my snow day stitch way too often. We got to stop that. Do you hear me, Mother Nature? As I'm looking out the window and I see all of the gray clouds over the city. So I know they're getting dumped on, and it is supposed to move back this way. There is one other thing that I have been working on. Again, I very rarely go anywhere that I don't bring something to work on. I don't know if it's nervousness or if it's just something that helps me cope in social situations. But if you are a quilter and you got the Missouri Star Quilt Company Christmas box this year, you'll recognize this pattern. Now this came as a kit with the fabric and an embroidery hoop and the thread and some beads. So I've been taking this to Roswell when I go for my treatments. And I'm not a big fan of embroidery. I know how to do it. I don't know how to do a lot of the fancy stitches, but I can muddle through, right? So I worked on this, and this is now done to the point that I'm going to turn it into a pillow. Now it came with beads, and they were really chunky beads, and I really wasn't happy with them. So if you remember, I showed you the beads that I had for my Temperature Galaxy that I was supposed to put in when I got that stitch done. So I took those beads, and not only are there French knots on here, I put some additional beads on. I have red and green and dark blue and light blue, and then I have like the clear beads in the center. And of course there's French knots on here. So I'm using this. I'm going to turn this into a pillow and just kind of stick it in my side haul, because that's where I have a lot of the pillows like that, the Lori Holt pillow. That's the side entrance that my clients use when they're dropping off things. So I like to have something, you know, to show that I know what I'm doing, right? I have some amount of talent. So there's this, and then I did start another one, and I have it in my, I call it my Roswell bag that I have to take to Roswell with me for treatments. But I'll show that to you when I get done with it. If you got the Missouri Star Quilt box last year, not this past Christmas, but Christmas of 2023, in that box was embroidery Christmas trees. So it's embroidered, it's red thread embroidered on white. And then they gave you the stand to make the little trees and stuff. So it's actually really cute. So, but again, it's embroidery, and I don't know all of the fancy stitches. So, but it also has embellishments like antique buttons and stuff like that. So I'm just working on that now, but I don't have it to show you. So I actually do not have any new starts other than that embroidery piece that I'm doing when I go to Roswell. But I do have some personal presents. And I know I have more coming in the mail. My friend Cindy's a bad influence. So if you are a quilter, or even if you're not, it doesn't matter. This Hobby House Needleworks posted this on their Facebook page, and oh my, I love Hobby House. It's an hour from me. It's about an hour and 10 minutes. That's my closest local needlework shop. So I'm actually going to retreat in April, and I'm going to talk about that more next month. So I ordered this pattern. They posted it, and I literally called them. I commented on the Facebook page, and then I called them. I'm like, what color thread did they use? And she's like, I'm really not sure. And she looked into it. She said, I think it's a Cosmo thread. So I ordered the pattern right away, and I ordered the Cosmo thread. And the color of the thread, I've never worked with Cosmo before. It's number 735. So I don't know, but this is called Cottage Sampler. It's by Tulip Cottage Quilts by Kelly Beckworth. So what you do is you stitch the cross stitch, and then you turn it into a quilted wall hanging. Now, this is nothing new, right? And I talked on my last video of how everything old is new again, right? And I showed you some examples. I've done this. I've done where I have taken a cross stitch piece and I've turned it into a quilted wall hanging, because to me that's combining two of the things that I really enjoy. So I have no idea what kind of linen or fabric I'm going to be stitching this on. I do know that I'm going to take this with me when I go to Hobby House in April, and just see what's there, because you know I know I'm not going to start this right now. I'm working on Americana Red and Americana Blue. Those are my two quilting cross-stitchy kind of things that I really want to focus on this year. So when I get done with Americana Red, then this will be taking that place. But again, it's called Cottage Sampler. And even if you don't want to stitch, if you don't want to turn it into a quilt, if you are a quilter and a cross-stitcher, it says A, B, C, and then says churn dash. So C and D, right? E, F, G, H, I for Irish chain, N for 9-patch. So it's really cute if you look at it. Again, it has birds in there, and as I said, I'm not a fan of birds. Maybe I can pull that bird out in the center motif and maybe, I don't know, put in a tomato or something, or scissors or whatever. I don't know. Or I might stitch it as is. We'll see how it goes when I get there. But this is one of the presents I bought myself. And then, of course, there are the Flosstube influencers. And I ordered Little House Needleworks Snowy Quaker, because somebody talked about it. I don't remember who. Okay, so this is the pattern. And I ordered from 123 Stitch, so I got the fabric, which is 32 count Valor. It's a Belfast linen. And I'm using the called for snowball. It's really kind of light. The fabric is not light in color, but light that you can see through it. But it's going to be very pretty. It has that shade of green in it, almost like a sage. I don't know. It's very pretty. I would like to do this for the winter months, but I might just kind of put that one off until the fall, until we start winter stitching again. And again, here we go. Another bad influencer on Flosstube. Another Little House Needleworks. It's called Bits and Pieces. So very cute. I did get the floss. Well, I got the green and the cream color. It's eggshell and English ivy, because I know I have the red and stuff. That's not even something. That's just, those are tiny little stitches in there. I have no idea what fabric I'm going to use. I'm sure I will find something upstairs in my fabric bin. So there's this one. And as I said, I know that I have other oh, and I got this piece of floss, this DMC, because somebody posted something that they had stitched, and they used the variegated DMC. It is 4520, and it's, the red, the green, the white. Is really cute. And I thought, I don't have that. Well, now I do, because things can't travel alone. Certainly didn't want those patterns traveling by themselves, so had to get some floss. So as far as cross stitch stuff, that's primarily it there. I do have, again, if you are a quilter and you are looking for free patterns to use, because, all of the companies provide free patterns, and so do a lot of our quilt artists and even our cross stitch artists, right? So I do carry Riley Blake fabrics in my Etsy shop, and Riley Blake has every year, and I did the quilt last year. Maybe I'll pull it up next year or next time and just show it. It's not quilted yet because I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with it. So Riley Blake does a block challenge where they have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 16 designers this year, 16 blocks, and they are posted every Tuesday except for the last Tuesday of the month, and it's all free. And every block is designed by somebody different. Now, the first block, it started last week. The first block was done by Lori Holt. Today's block is done by Beth McCullough. So now, just because it's Riley Blake doesn't mean you have to use fabrics by those particular designers, because there's 16 different designers and they're all listed. So, if you are a quilter, you can go to the Riley Blake Designs Riley Blake Designs website. There is a little link for free patterns. Then when you get to that, you go to sew alongs, and then when you get to that, you go to the Riley Blake Designs Block Challenge, and they will have 2025 listed. So they have provided everything for you. This is actually the first time they've given the full layout, and this is in black and white. This is a color sheet. So, if you are a quilter and you want to use a particular line and you want to color it in to see what it's going to look like, this is what their idea of the layout is going to be. It doesn't mean you have to follow this layout. Okay? You can do whatever you want. You are the boss of your own quilt, according to Lori Holt, right? So, but they give you all of the designers, which week they're going to be featured. Sandy Gervais is actually one of the designers. So, as I said, the first one was Lori Holt. This one is Bev McCullough. I did look at her block today. It's really cute. I'm probably going to, well, I know I'm going to be printing it up, but Riley Blake shows the quilt in 2 different lines. They show it in a batik, and then they show it in solids. I am using 2 lines from French General because I really want to mix in the reds and the browns, the creams, and I have some other colors that I want to work into it. So this is the first block. I'll try to hold this up here. This was Lori Holt's block from last week. And as I said, I am using French General fabrics for this. Now you can use whatever you want. Because again, they gave the layout prior to, which they have not done in the past. So, you know, you have an idea when you look at these blocks that a lot of them are very scrappy. There is also a colored version of the layout too, so you can look at what this is going to look like. Because each one of the designers, I think they had to use, I don't know if they had to use the actual colors from Riley Blake, and then they did their own spin on it as well. This block down here in the bottom, right here in the middle, right here, that's Bev McCullough's block for today. Okay. So I will, I mean, you can check Bev McCullough's. She's got a blog, so you can look at her information there. You can go to Riley Blake. Riley Blake also has a YouTube video where they walk you through how to make the block. There is a Riley Blake Designs Block Challenge Facebook group that you can also join, where the pattern is posted in there. Like I said, the free block comes out every Tuesday except for the last Tuesday of the month. It's going to run for 16 sessions, 16 blocks. And, you know, even if you make 4 blocks and make yourself a table runner or whatever, or you look at some of these blocks and you're like, oh, that's a little bit past my pay grade, I don't want to do that. It is a learning experience. And, you know, looking at some of these blocks, they might be challenging for a beginner, but that doesn't mean you have to make that block, right? You can make, like, if you like this block and it worked out very well for you, make it in different colors. I have seen a lot of people where they're posting light backgrounds or dark backgrounds. Last year when I did the quilt, I used an entire, I had a whole line by Adita Sitar that I used to make the blocks, and it turned out nice. I really like it. I have not quilted the quilt yet. I didn't lay it out the way that Riley Blake suggested. Just like with this one here, I don't know if I'm going to be doing it this way because I'm not real fond of the way that this looks, the patches look with the colors that Riley Blake has chosen. Again, they're using solids and batiks. I don't care for batiks, and I generally only use solids if it's a background. But I can change whatever I want to change, right? So once I get all of the blocks done, then I'll kind of go back and figure out how I want to lay this out. And there are so many different ways that people are, you know, using their own talent and their design skills. You know, people think, well, I don't know how to design anything. Sure you do. Take your fabric, take your cross stitch. Even when you take your cross stitch and you make changes to your pattern, to your colors, you're designing, you're redesigning. You know, you have an eye for what it is that you like. A lot of times we like to just use what we have, especially on smaller pieces, and that's what I'm doing with some of my little snow smalls, my winter smalls. I'm trying to use what I have because why not? You know, sometimes we have a big piece of fabric, we cut something off, try to use it, right? Everything old is new again. I'm taking some of my old cross-stitch pieces, and I know I showed some of those in my last video. I'm trying to rework them so that I can bring them back out and enjoy them. As I was putting away some of my Christmas decorations, I had cross-stitch pieces that I made back in the 80s and the 90s that the hardest way that I framed it was in a hoop, right? With a little bow at the top, because that was very popular back in the 90s. Just put it in a hoop, put a little bow at the top. Right? It was a Christmas decoration. It only came out for a month out of the year, but it was still fun to do. So with that being said, I did watch a few Flosstubers, and I didn't really mention it the last time. There are some free patterns. One of them was Up on the Rooftop by Fat Quarter Shop. What else? Fat Quarter Shop also has a free Valentine pattern out. I think I downloaded that, but I'm going to look and see what I have as far as Valentines. I did stitch a few Valentine pieces last year. Maybe I'll just stitch another small one. I do have almost all of Lori Holt's stitch cards, and those are those little tiny cards that, you can stitch them small or large because depending on what size fabric you're using, right? So if I'm using a big count, if I have a piece of 10 count or a 12 count Ada, I can make a decent size little Valentine pillow. So we'll see. I have to pull out my Valentine stuff to see. I know Sherry Colorado Cross Stitcher said she wasn't doing the February camp, and the stitch camp that she normally did, she says the problem with that is the hashtags on Instagram. We're really not able to follow as much as we used to be able to follow. The other thing that I have started doing, there was a debate. I was listening to the Primrose Girls, and they were talking about reading, and there was a conversation with regards to listening to Audible books or actually picking up physical book to read. And I'm an Audible girl. I love to listen to Audibles, not just on Audible, but through Libby, the library. I will listen to books because it keeps my hands free. And I just saw a video on, now that TikTok is back, don't even get me started with that, where auditory senses cause you to have to listen to the proper way of speaking. Whereas when you're actually reading something, your eye is basically scanning and you might miss those other ways of the proper way we should be speaking, things like that. It was kind of interesting, and I understood where she was coming from, because I know when I'm reading, I skim, and sometimes I get to the bottom of the page and I don't remember what I read. But if it's being read to me, I'm paying attention better, and I can hear when somebody misspeaks much better as compared to if I'm reading something, I might skip it. But anyway, long story short, I started listening to Outlander, the Outlander series. That first book, can I tell you, is like a part-time job. It is about 34 hours long. 33 hours? It doesn't matter, right? It is a long book. And I started listening to it, and I thought, you know what, it's not that bad. And because I do have credits on Audible, I actually bought like the next 3 books. So probably for the entire year, it's going to take me to just listen to those 4 books. But I don't listen. I can only listen to it for a certain amount of time, and then I find my brain wandering, and I turn it off and I focus on someplace else. So, okay. So as far as that, as I said, I did watch some Flosstubers. I have not picked up Sarah Stitchy Spot yet this week, nor did I watch Karen Recovering Monogamous, Stitcher. Honestly, this week so far, like Saturday, Sunday, I had to work Saturday. Sunday I was, busy with cleaning, but then again, my husband went to the game, and I sat and rewatched season 12 of Call the Midwife and half of season 13, because I am not a football fan. I don't like football. We're just going to leave it at that, okay? It's almost baseball season. Let's just say that. So there are times where I just thoroughly enjoy sitting and watching Flosstube. I do want to go back because I know that the attic needlework, or the attic just had their retreat, and I'm anxious to see what came out of the retreat. And I also am encouraged to see what's coming up at market. So my no by January, what are we, on the 21st of the month? I probably purchased something half of these days. I can't. I have fabric coming from Fat Quarter Shop. I have an order coming from Primrose Cottage. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. It's gloomy here. It could be worse. um, I'm not apologizing for myself any longer. But I am going through my old things, and I am pulling out other patterns to stitch. I've been looking through my Punch Needle and Primitive magazine books to find smalls to do. I know Sarah from Sarah's Stitchy Spot last year in 2024 suggested, doing once a month, just making a small to have it in case you go to retreat. Now I got retreat coming up in April, so I do want to try to figure out what I can make for table gifts. I have to find out how many people are at our table. I don't even know if they've figured that out yet. So that's about all I have going on. As I said, I have finished 5 of my radiation treatments. I have 10 more to go. Fingers crossed that everything is okay there. I'm not traveling anywhere. I'm working. I'm undecorating. Got birthdays coming up for 3 of my grandchildren. I have one next week, one in February, one in March. So that'll be fun. But other than that, luckily, everything has been on an even keel, and that's the way we like it. So I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. I did want to make things shorter, and technically I did. It's not over an hour yet, so I better shut myself up. I hope that wherever you are safe and you are warm, or if you're in extreme weather, I hope it's cool enough for you. I can say that if you know that somebody is going through something that might be difficult for them, please consider when you say to somebody, if you need help, call me. Because sometimes what we really need is for you to just show up. Sometimes saying call me, I can tell you that for the most part, we're not going to call. We just want you to show up, and that's important to us. Okay, so I'm going to clean up my mess. I'm going to go do some undecorating, and I'm going to go make a quilt block and work on some client orders. So hope you have a great day, and hopefully I'll see you again in maybe a week. Alrighty then. Bye for now.